mentioned it as well in my opening, the fact that this challenge just continues to evolve just in terms of what it offers both on and off the field. Of course, we kick things off with a high school seminar. That's Thursday, August 26th. We then move to the welcome reception on that Friday and the Coca-Cola fan experience that of course precedes the game kickoff on ESPN. Now, when you think about that, it's more than just a game, right? So I wanted to ask you all from your perspective, how important is it to have such an expansive experience as it relates to just shining the spotlight on the amazing talent and treasures that we have here in HBCU college football?
Well, anytime you have a wonderful occasion such as this and you gather folk, you want to try to have some real meat and potatoes of what you ought to actually do to support your community. We all trying to influence young folk in a way that we want to create something that's going to spur them on to greater things in the future. And the things that we can do to encourage them, surrounded by our game, because it's what draws them in. But once we get them, we're going to do some real good things for them to get them going in the future that way. So anything we can do that way, I think is a great contribution to our community.
I think that weekend is going to be special. You talk about platforms for HBCU football in itself. And, you know, for some things to be lined up from Thursday all the way up through that football game, it's good for South Carolina State, it's good for Jackson State, it's good for all the HBCUs to have that platform. That's why it's so important for us to put on at all those events, even with the football game. You know, everything is on a high level stage, and you know, everybody's looking, and you're talking about from East Coast, West Coast, North, South. Many people don't know a lot about HBCUs, and that's our time to shine. That's how I look at this whole event coming up.
Indeed, coaches. And just to add a little bit to that, I was speaking with a colleague of mine this morning, and he was saying, yeah, you know, there are games played on week 0, and there's some random game played at Georgia State. I said, I'm sorry, excuse me, what?
Exactly.
Random game? No, this is no random game. This is the start of college football, so this is big, and I had to make sure that my colleague understood the importance of this game as it relates to not just HBCU college football, but the entirety of college football. So thank you all so much. And then I want to just toss you guys another quick question before we send it over to the media and our audience. So I'll ask you both this question, and whoever wants to answer first, answers first, but maybe I'll toss it over to you, Coach Taylor, first. Of course, the SWAC released its preseason SWAC team standings, if you will, or its preseason poll, and that was released on yesterday. Individual winners, predicted order of finish, all SWAC teams, etc. Specifically in the East, FAMU's projected to finish #1 ahead of Jackson State. Is that motivation for your team?
I mean, it's always motivation, but I look at the preseason, no games been played. You know, that's a team that's going to have to see us following the MEAC SWAC challenge, and we'll take care of that business then, you know, but that's a lot of minds coming together. There's nominating players and teams that they hadn't even seen, you know, and that's what I said about it yesterday. They don't know. You know, they hadn't seen the new Jackson State football team, and we're going to show them, you know, coming about 31, 32 days with what we've been cooking all summer. You know, it's been a great summer off season for us. I'm excited about it, but it's all about the postseason. You know, what do you look like at the end of the season? You know, that's what we're excited about.
Yeah, and making the decision before toe meets leather is always interesting, because before those pads get put on, it's just conjecture, right? And Coach Pough, the MEAC also released its preseason all MEAC teams last week, along with individual winners and predicted order of finish. South Carolina State's actually projected to be about in the middle of the pack at #3. Is that motivation for your team?
It is. Anytime you're not there, you know, in the eyes of your opponents, you're a little bit concerned. But I can tell you that, you know, I was worried about us being voted last. So now you're talking about being voted in the middle of the pack. You know, they actually gave us a little bit better credit than what I was given the circumstance. The only good thing about it is, you know, you want to try to get a chance to sneak up on them a little bit. So if I'm farther back, then, you know, I got a little longer runway that way. But hey, we'll see. It's exactly what Coach Taylor said. Any of that kind of stuff is motivation for the year. It gives you an opportunity to say, hey, look what they think about it. We got to do something, you know, that kind of stuff.
Oh,
so at that point, you know, that we'll get a chance to use that to our advantage.
Yeah, it sounded like bulletin board material as well. So thank you all for that. And what we want to do now is open it up to media. When you get the microphone in hand, please have your question ready. Please have your name ready and give us your affiliation and briefly state your question.
Mason Smith with HBCU Legends. Coach Pough, the first game of the year always provides unique challenges. You don't know how rosters change. Even they have a lot of people back. What challenge is it for your team, seeing that Jackson State's roster has had so much turnover preparing for the first game of the year?
It's hard. You don't know exactly what to prepare for. You got to go around and figure out all kinds of angles to possibly figure what they might do based on the fact that they've got different players, they got different coaches. And, our season is almost entirely that way in the early part because we played Jackson the first game. They've got 2 new coordinators and a new head coach. Then we go to Charlotte, and they've got a totally new crew at Charlotte. And we come back to Georgia Tech, and I'm sure you're all aware, what's going on over there, and the fact that they've changed around their staff. And then we go off all week, and then we play the Citadel. And the Citadel's got a totally new staff. So it's just kind of business as usual for us that we don't have a clue what everybody's doing. The only good thing about it is we only open with 2 of those teams. We do open with Jackson, who will have not played a game with their new staff, and then we open with Charlotte, who is also not open, who will also not play the game yet. It'll be there. We play week 0 and week 1 against 2 new staffs. So it's a little bit of an issue that way, but you know what? Once we get out there and get to playing, we got to kind of figure it out as we go.
Question over here.
Thank you. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab, 12 HBCU football championships between the 2 programs. But I want to get a little bit into the X's and O's, and I know you're not going to tell us too much, but Corey Fields is coming back in terms of the quarterback play. For you, Coach, what does that look like in terms of going up against the defense of Jackson State? And for you, Coach Taylor, on the opposite side, what do you want to get done with your defense in terms of this new regime, particularly going after quarterbacks such as Corey Fields?
Anytime you face a quarterback like Corey, you got to be disciplined. That's what we talked about. Some of the things that he can bring to a football game. Beat you with his arm, with his legs. So we got to be disciplined. We feel like the strength of our football team is on the defensive line. We got great depth over there. We got some guys that can really play. I feel like our coaching staff hit on some good transfers, some guys that really can play at a high level. Over the last couple of years, we've been so successful because we've been #1 defense in the country, in turnovers and things like that. So we want to continue to preach that going forward. To me, defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. You hear that all the time. But we live by that. But I'm very excited about that defense. I think that was the kid that played against us and did a heck of a job here in the Celebration Bowl a couple of years ago against us. So we're excited about the challenge, getting an opportunity to go up against him again. And like I told the D-line, and defense, our defensive staff, just make sure you discipline, keep him in the pocket, those kind of things, see if he can beat us with his arm.
And then Corey is a wonderful young man who has finished his undergrad and is in the last semester of his graduate degree in phys ed. He'll be a athletic director, a teacher, or something of that nature. Pretty soon. But he wants to be a high school athletic director. He's been a really mature guy in a way that he's almost like having a coach on the field. So it's great having that guy back. Now we've got a new offensive coordinator, so it's a little bit different kind of setup as far as how we do stuff, given those circumstances. But it's always good to have a guy in your scheme that kind of have the way you can depend on to know what to do.
Question to your right.
Travis McGee, HBCU Ball and Show. Coach Taylor, I met you last Celebration Bowl. You have a lot of confidence, and Coach Buddy Pough, I met you at the Celebration Bowl before that. And I want to jump right into it, man. How has the transfer portal helped both of your programs on both sides of the ball? I know you lost a lot of players here and there, but tell me how the transfer portal helped your program.
You the transfer portal guy. I'm just kind of sitting there. Those ragtag points we had last time. Go for it. I need to know too.
Oh man!
I get that question a lot about the transfer portal. And it has paid dividends for Jackson State over the years. Everybody knows that. You know, with the departure of Coach Prime, you know, a lot went to Colorado, a lot went to other places. So, as far as bringing in my new coaching staff, we talked about, you know, we got to go hit this transfer portal. All it is right now, you're dealing with NFL free agency. You know, the thing about it, the thing that we do a good job of is vetting those guys that we bring in. You know, you can't, a lot of times I tell them, like, you're inheriting other people's problems sometimes, so you got to make sure you're getting the right kid. And we've done a great job of that. You know, I was concerned about the summertime and how all of them would gel with like close to 60, 70 new guys. But the chemistry has been crazy. You know, it kind of scares me at times to see how well they come together and how quickly they did. But it's been good for us. I have to say that it's going to continue to, we're going to continue to recruit out of it. What we also try to do is get some young guys. There's some young kids in there that are in there because of playing time issue that have, you know, 2 and 3 seasons left. So, you know, they're still able to buy into your culture and your program. You know, and I feel like we did a good job with that. But basically what we did in December, you know, once we started getting so much turnover, we had immediate needs. You know, and we started to attack those needs out of the portal. So, you know, as far as vetting the kids, understanding the parents, you know, you check with the parents and where they're coming from, and also reaching out to the coaches and the staff that they previously came from, you know, and trying to do a good job of that and making sure you're hitting on the right ones.
We did have 3 young men to transfer into our program this past Christmas, this past January. One tight end from Chattanooga, a linebacker from Delaware State, and a corner from Alcorn. It's Alcorn or Alcorn? We had that conversation. Anyway, we have 3 in, and then we lost 2. We lost the Davis twins, BJ and Shaq. Both guys, well, actually Shaq left him. He went through the portal to the NFL, and BJ went through the portal to East Carolina, and we actually lost a running back too. So it kind of bounces out for us. Whether it's good or bad, you know, I'm still kind of figuring this thing out. You know, it's kind of toward the end of an old man's time, and you know, I don't know sometimes if I can figure out between NILs and transfer portals, you know, it gets to be a pretty good little deal to figure that stuff out. So I'm just kind of sitting there watching, trying to see what's next.